Good afternoon, everyone. This is Donna Qualls. I am the Executive Director of FISPA, Fiber Internet Service Providers Association. Welcome, everyone, to our Lunch and Learn session. Today, I am super excited to share the stage with one of our FISPA vendor members, Matt Denick with Preseem. So, Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you get started.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Donna, and welcome everyone to today's session. Thanks for joining. It's a lunch and learn today, so we're going to have a bit of fun, and hopefully you've got something tasty for lunch there too as well. But we're going to chat throughout today's sessions about how ISPs can move from beyond bandwidth to deliver amazing customer experiences and what that means. And throughout the session today, we're going to look at the proactive approach to access network and subscriber management and what that means. We'll talk a little around Preseem and how we'll talk a little bit more as well of how you can drive growth, customer efficiency, and even network operations. But just a little bit about me really quickly. I'm Matt Denick, as Donna kind of mentioned. I'm the product marketing director at Preseem, and I'll be leading today's session as well. I've spent the last 25 years in telecom as well as technology product marketing mainly, but I've led international teams and I've partnered really closely with our customers and as well partners in more than 40 countries around the world. I'm excited to join you today for lunch. Like I mentioned, hope you have something tasty. And as well, let's talk about what you can expect from today's session. So what really can you get out of today? And also, how can you get involved? So first of all, if you do have any questions throughout today's session, just go ahead and drop them in the Q&A field. I'll do my best to answer them as they come in, but generally as flow kind of goes. I'll likely reserve that for the end of the session and kind of address them as we go. And then follow up with you for any that we don't get to if we happen to get lots of questions. So hopefully, fingers crossed. But next, I'm going to share some insights into the market and kind of what we're seeing from our global ISP customer base, as well as some broad trends in the market too, of what we're seeing within ISPs in general. We're going to have a number of interactive polls as well. I like to keep things fun. And obviously, get your insight as well, because it's really important to me. I value your input. But all of these are really designed to get you involved in the session and also to get you thinking about how you're responding to trends in your networks and also how you're thinking about delivering, great experiences to your customers. And finally, since this is, we're going to be spending a bit of time over lunch today, we're going to walk through the benefits of taking that proactive approach and how access network and subscriber management can really help you drive the benefits of growing your network and activating that customer support and really the efficiencies that you need. So with that, let's get to our very first poll question. So I'll ask Donna to give us a hand with this. But since it's a lunch and learn, I thought we'd have a bit of fun, right? So it's food related. It's a potentially controversial question, but I need to know more about you as an audience and where you stand on this. So tell me, is a hot dog a taco or a sandwich? Where do you stand? Take a couple of moments, really think about it. It's a really important question. Maybe you're having a taco or a hot dog or a sandwich for lunch, and that'd be awesome. But let's settle this debate once and for all, and let's see what you think. So we'll just give it a couple seconds for everyone to select just one choice. You need to make a decision, obviously, because there's no sitting on the fence, whether it's a taco or a sandwich.
The race has begun, Matt. I'm loving it.
And the race has begun. That's interesting. I can't wait to see what this is going to be.
I know, that's why I wish I could show it to you live time so you can see the bars go back and forth of the debate.
I imagine people are like, making decisions. Oh, well, maybe it is. Well, it's a taco for this reason, or it's a hot dog for this reason. Love to hear it.
Okay, well, we'll give it a few more seconds. Let everyone get a chance to get their controversial response then. I love it. Okay, it looks like we've settled down. I'm going to close the poll, Matt.
Cool.
Share results.
Wow, look at that. It's a sandwich. Most of you are thinking that it's a sandwich, but I mean, it's completely separate food category. I almost believe that as well. But I'm happy to see that many folks actually have a stance on this too. Sometimes you get this and don't even get me started. I don't even want to have this debate, but that's really interesting. So thanks everyone for having a little fun there. And actually, we're going to dive right back into another poll question. And this is going to set the stage for what we're going to discuss today. So when you think about delivering, high quality experiences on your network, what is the number one challenge you find that gets in your way of really delivering a great experience? And so is it increasing competition? This could be from tier one providers or alternatives that you're seeing in your local market. Is it managing multiple legacy systems? You've built your network obviously from the ground up over the last few years. There's lots of systems that are competing, that are doing a great job, but they're also starting to slow you down, perhaps. Perhaps it's a lack of centralized data. The data you need to make decisions is siloed across multiple systems, and that's causing you to react. Or maybe you're seeing a lot of really complex technology integrations. We see that a lot from our customers. Managing congestion, maybe that's something that's hot on your mind, or maybe it's about even balancing the capital and the operational costs of actually delivering great experiences for your network. Or maybe it's someone else. So let's take a look here in a second. We'll give you another couple of seconds to answer the poll of what is your greatest challenge to delivering high quality customer experiences on your network. How are we doing with the responses there,
Looks like
Donna?
we're good. I'm going to go ahead and share the results.
Wow, it's still pretty split here. So increase in competition and complex technology integrations. Yeah, and a lack of centralized data as well. A couple of responses there. Well, that's excellent. I think that so the majority of you obviously cited, looking at the complex integrations and as well as increase in competition. And I think, that being the greatest challenge that you're facing today on your networks, this really aligns with what we're seeing from our global customer base across fixed wireless access, fiber, and even hybrid ISPs. And because I think really the reason is customer expectations are evolving faster and faster every day, right? So that really makes delivering exceptional network quality to your subscribers crucial for how you gain a competitive advantage, right? So driving loyalty, growing your customer base, they all fit within that. And folks like yourselves, regional ISPs, fiber providers, really face a lot of hurdles before you're able to drive these business outcomes together. So increasing competition, as many of you identified, managing multiple legacy systems. We hear this from our customers all the time. And really all of this comes down to a lack of centralized data from your access network, your subscribers, all your vendor systems, everything that's across your network to know exactly where your attention is most urgently required. And what we've seen is that this fragmentation and siloing of data leads to reactive approaches, right, that slow your business down. And if this sounds familiar to you, when you think about your own network, how many different types of access technologies do you currently manage, right? So do you have a hybrid network? You have fiber, fixed wireless, or maybe you have some legacy DSL and cable in the network. Let's get to our next poll question. So I'm really interested in learning a little bit more about you and the networks that you operate. So when you think about your own network, how many access technologies do you manage? And so this is a multiple choice, so you can answer more than one. So as many access technologies as you have deployed in your network that you're managing. Do you have fixed wireless? This being a fiber webinar, I would expect that many folks are going to obviously answer fiber to this, but perhaps you have some cable, some DSL, maybe some 5G and LTE to reach those really far-reaching and hard to access areas of the network for your customers. So let's give this another couple seconds here, and then we'll get into the answers and take a look at where everybody's landed with how many access technologies you operate. Okay, take a sip of water here. How are we doing there, Donna?
Doing good. Looks like we're wrapping up. We'll give it a few more seconds just to make sure. All right, I'm going to close the poll. Share results.
Right, interesting. So fixed wireless, this is really interesting. Obviously this being a fiber webinar, we see a lot of that. A lot of our customers that operate hybrid networks, right? Where maybe you're either building out a fiber network kind of adjacent to your fixed wireless access network and thinking about that. So it's very interesting that many folks here, there's even some LTE responses, which I find interesting. So this is very similar to how we see a lot of our customers, deploy their networks as well. And I think the fact that many of you operate these access technologies together is exactly what we're seeing in the market too across our entire customer base, right? The hybrid networks, they're multi-vendor networks. And hybrid networks are good because they can provide you with multiple service options with the packages and the styles and really the delivery of how you deliver services to your customers. It also gives you options for redundancy, for deployment agility, and for additional capacity as well to really meet that demand. So as you move from a single access technology to hybrid environments with multiple access technologies, that complexity grows, right? So initially, hybrid networks will have the best equipment that they need for the job. and the best products and access technologies that they have in place. And for the reasons we talked about, multi-vendor is a really good thing because it gives you that flexibility. But what we see is that over time, a lot of this really be the multiple access technologies, what ends up happening in a single access environment is that you have a single set of tools, your provisioning, your support, your operations teams, they all use that vendor's tools, and it's really easy because they've got everything in one place with a single vendor. But even with a single access technology, you often have multiple vendors, right? Maybe your CRM, maybe you're building an OSS system, and now you've just 2x the complexity in the network. And each vendor that you add from an access technology perspective, or even just a pure vendor perspective, whether that's they come with their own management, user interface, right? And so this means your teams, your operations teams, your support teams, they need to learn multiple vendors. They need to work inside multiple tools. And this already starts to slow down their efficiency, right? It increases their troubleshooting times, and it also increases support times to get to the root cause of all those problems. And then as you add more and more access technologies, maybe you're getting some BEAD funding, obviously, and you're putting that to good use. You're building out your fiber networks, you're putting more fiber in the ground, or maybe you're moving to Active E or whatever it happens to be on your fiber network. This actually drives that complexity, and it grows by orders of magnitude. The difference is that with larger tier ones, we talked about competition. A lot of those folks have huge integration and development teams who can build specialized tooling to help your teams manage your network more effectively. But many of you don't, right? Many of you aren't able to equip your teams to do that. So now your teams need to be specialists and have that expertise across multiple vendors and multiple access technologies. And pretty soon, all of this complexity becomes completely unmanageable. And this is really what causes it to slow you down. You're forced to be reactive. And I think there's a major downside to being reactive, right? It complicates network management, it slows your growth potential, it becomes harder to spot revenue acquisition and upsell opportunities, and it creates poor customer experiences, as well as lengthy support calls and responses within ISP teams, because instead of working on improving network performance proactively, your experienced technicians, they're spending their valuable time troubleshooting a lot of those customer support calls. And even your revenue generating teams, they don't know the areas of the network that could be primed for growth. And when we think about this reactive approach, it's really important that ISPs are equipped, and they do this to move beyond reactive access network and subscriber management that oppose all of these unnecessary capital costs, poor subscriber QoE, and potentially churn, and turn their focus to a proactive approach. And one example is Preseem. So this is really where Preseem comes in. Preseem is proactive growth, customer support, and network operations. And what we do is we give you a centralized, actionable, platform with intelligence that spans all of your access technologies. So folks on the call that answered where you operate multiple access technologies and vendors, you get unified insight, right? So you can search from a single platform. Your teams don't need to go into multiple vendor systems. What happens is you're able to take action to reduce churn, drive growth, reduce support calls, and drive that operational efficiency. So let's dive a little deeper on how we help you do that and talk about the Preseem advantage. So one of the ways that we help you take that proactive approach is through a number of capabilities. So first of all, thinking about deployment speed and agility. So we help you get set up in minutes, and in minutes you start to see some of that actionable data from your network and your vendors and your subscribers all in one single place. And then you have the flexibility to deploy on your own terms, on-prem, hybrid cloud. You get that scale and performance that's required for even the most demanding of your networks across the board. And one of the things that we've done with the platform is we've put a lot of focus on pre-building a lot of these integrations with your systems, because we know that most of our customers don't operate in a single vendor and a single system. And so being able to combine insight from your billing and OSS systems, your CPE devices, and also using APIs to collect more network metadata from the network gives you insight into that. And really, in short, we build all these integrations so you don't have to. We know that your teams are many of your teams are not large or staffed or resourced to build a lot of these integrations yourself. So we do this for you. And one of the key factors, I think, with Preseem is getting that automatic network discovery, right? So what we're able to help you do very quickly is pull your network and build automatically your topology. So your subscriber topology, your network topology, understanding where subscribers are existing across your PONs, OLTs, and even the ONTs that they're on, and making all of that accessible and actionable in a single place. And what this does is it really helps to free up that automation from routine maintenance, continuous system updates, and manual tasks as well to enhance operational efficiency and reduce all that downtime. One of the other elements I think that, to talk a little around is thinking about the subscriber experience. And one of the ways that we're able to do is to help you do this is to deliver true quality experience, right? And so to truly understand QoE, you need to understand it from the subscribers or your customers' expensive or perspective. So how you consider their end-to-end experience. And this is where systems like deep packet inspection systems, where they really fail, because DPI only measures application-based metrics as well. And it's hugely taxing on the configurations and really the systems and the signatures that you need to maintain. Not to mention the visibility that's diminished over time with greater encryption across the network. And so all of this combined, one of the great things that you get is you get this concept of proactive growth, customer support, and network operations with Preseem. So on the growth side, you'll be able to proactively identify growth upsell opportunities as well as upgrade opportunities across the network. You can maximize subscriber QoE, increase satisfaction and retention, and drive loyalty. And for support teams as well, being able to search everything all in one place, you get to the root cause of issues faster. So you can isolate troubles in the access network. Maybe they're in the OLT or in the ONT. You can actually separate those and understand how latency and quality of experience is affected across the fiber network and across your fixed wireless network as well. And with network operations, you're going to be able to manage your network proactively. You'll simplify operations, you'll eliminate all that integration complexity, and really generate those real results. So an example here, one of our customers in Africa that operates a fixed wireless as well as a fiber network, so a bit of a hybrid network, this is Tech Connect, and they've been able to decrease their truck rolls by 28% shortly after deploying Preseem. And this is really due large in part to the fact that they're able to more effectively troubleshoot in their network. So if you could imagine what that kind of a reduction would mean for you and your network in terms of operations and how you could better refocus your entire team's time across building those systems. And so just to kind of give you a bit of insight into some of the capabilities that we have for fiber networks specifically, but also fixed wireless networks, we'd love to give you some insight into how we can help, or really some of the options you have available to you for how you can reduce mean time to resolution with respect to your support calls. So for example, with Preseem, you can find a subscriber with a single search. Doesn't matter what access technology or vendor or equipment or manufacturer they happen to be on. So for example, if you have a fiber customer, you can see which OLT, which PON they're connected to, which PON port they're connected to, regardless of the vendor. You can do that all from a single place. And then you can quickly understand whether the problem is in the home network or it's somewhere in the access technology or access network, or maybe even in the backhaul. And maybe this gets escalated instead to the operations team. Or if it's in the home, maybe there's a different escalation path that you have in place in terms of how that CSR is able to handle it. Maybe you can offer a managed router or even an upgrade to that existing modem. But in either case, Preseem knows the customer, the CPE device, the radio and fixed wireless networks as well, the access point, and can show you really great key performance indicators and metrics that'll point out the problem without you having to roll an additional truck or require additional troubleshooting. But let's take a really quick look into how we can help you do this. And so we'll take a demonstration, a really quick look into how Preseem can help you, your fiber network, and really you get your customer support issues resolved a lot quicker with that proactive approach. And so in this example, what we're going to do is walk through a bit of a demonstration of the Preseem application and how a customer support representative can actually start in a single view in a single platform with access all of their items across vendors and access technologies with Preseem. So let's take a look at this demonstration here. So the first thing we're going to do is we just received a call from a customer. So Erica Taylor, in this case, they're complaining about slow internet. And so what you can do is type in her name really quickly into our global search to get more information about her account. So we'll go ahead and do that, type Erica Taylor into the account. And what we can see very quickly is that in this case, Erica is on a gig symmetrical plan. So 1 gig by 1 gig fiber plan. So if we look into her plan further, it'll give us an insight into how she's actually consuming these services. So if we look at download rates and really upload rates too, we can see that Erica's not coming close to her max plan speed. So that's defined by this green line that you see at the top here. And her usage is way, way, way below a gig. If we look at that rate chart. So what could possibly be slowing her down? Well, the great thing is that we have the ability to look at metrics like quality of experience and latency. So we measure round trip time across the entire network. So we can help you segment where those quality and latency issues might be in the network. And looking at the latency, we can see that it's all over the place. There's clearly a problem here. Erica's experience is poor. We've seen round trip time in this case above 200 milliseconds, and it's fairly consistent as well. So we can tell that her latency is clearly impacting her experience here. So if we drill in further, so Erica's probably, the result of this, there's probably a lot of buffering, a lot of stalling. She's probably seeing download timeouts as a result of this, even though she has a gig fiber plan, right? This should never be a problem. So why is this a problem? Well, we can drill into this a bit further and take a look at her CPE device. So if we drill into her element, specifically her ONT, we can look at that network terminal at her home and get some metrics there. So information like status, connection time, the fiber length as well. We can see light levels. So if there's anything that might be affecting her from a distribution perspective, from those optics, we can see right away. The Ethernet port status, is it up or down? And then we also get Ethernet port speed. So you'll notice it's highlighted in yellow there. And this is where the problem is. So Erica's Ethernet port speed is only pulling about 10 megabits per second, right, on a gigabit plan. And that likely means that Erica's got an old router in this case that's only able to negotiate a 10 megabit per second speed. So now what can we do? Well, the CSR has a couple of routes to resolution here. She knows the problem is likely in Erica's router, and now they can actually recommend that she upgrade her router itself so she can achieve her max plan speed. There might even be a case where if there are a lot of Wi-Fi home in-home Wi-Fi issues, what we may want to do in this case is position a managed Wi-Fi service to Erica as well. And all of this the CSR was able to do in really just a couple of quick clicks without needing to go from screen to screen to screen and spending a lot of time logging into different vendor systems and understanding what's going on there. And so if we look at this here, I'm just going to tab back to the previous screen for a second here. But so all of this here, if we look at some of the benefits that you have that your support teams can get, you're really going to benefit from that simplified and really accelerated root cause analysis from a single view into your entire system. So you'll get those key performance indicators directly. You'll understand light levels a bit further as well, what the conditions of the OLT to the ONT link are. And then because your teams, support staff, and operations folks are working directly in a single pane of glass view, you can reduce the staff onboarding time, the time it takes really to train folks on new systems or new vendors, as well as saving time because you're not logging into multiple different systems. And you could do this all from a single pane of glass. And so if you look at some of what our customers have been able to do, this is an example of Matt Larson. He's the CEO of VistaBeam. And so VistaBeam, since installing Preseem on their fixed wireless network as well, saw a 50% reduction in customer support calls overnight. So turning on Preseem, being able to see, through active queue management and applying some more active, really quality management metrics across this, they were able to see support calls drop, create resolutions faster, and this is all going to result in happier customers. So that's the customer support example. If we look at a really great example of operations teams, so how can your network operations teams leverage a proactive approach to identify issues? What are you able to do? In this case, you'd be able to identify potential issues across the PON and the ONT level before they start to impact your customers. And that's really the name of the game. Is many customers won't even call to let you know that they have slow internet. They'll kind of deal with it, get frustrated even more, and potentially make a churn decision, right? But what you can do with a proactive approach is sort, PONs and ONTs by standard KPIs across multiple different vendors to generate a proactive maintenance list for your field teams, where they can go out and proactively improve the quality of the network. So that's something that's really hard to do if you're searching across multiple vendor systems. It's really difficult to stitch all that together and understand where you need to focus. So then the last point here is really around troubleshooting and isolating problems that are affecting customer QoE. You can isolate the issues to the PON or to the customer prem, or even on your backwall, and understand that a bit further. So it's one thing for me to talk about it, but again, let's see this in action and take a quick look into what this means for what a proactive approach means for network operations teams. And so in this example, we're going to take a look into a network operations manager at Rocket Fast Fiber, right? The fastest fiber on the block. So they're going to use Preseem to proactively identify issues within their fiber network. And they're going to start by getting information about the PONs that are on their network as well. So let's take a look at this here. So the PONs view, the first thing that you're going to see is we give you information all in one place about the manufacturers, the models, the number of ONTs that you have across your entire fiber network, as well as connected, are they connected, what each ONT is connected to the PON, their link rate, their TX, their receive time, transmission data as well, and a ton of other metrics that you can use to get more intelligence and operate your network more effectively. So because we have everything, all the vendors in one place, we give you the option to potentially filter on a specific vendor if you want to isolate, issues or quality issues between Adtran, Ubiquiti, or whatever vendor you might have deployed. You can use this and quickly see all of the PON manufacturers in a unified view. Everyone across the network that's deployed in a unified view. And for those of you that operate a fixed wireless network as well, you'd be able to do this and see all of your access points, all the access point manufacturers that you have in the network, all of the equipment manufacturers very quickly, and see those CPU radio devices and be able to troubleshoot RF very quickly. But in this example, we could see that this network specifically has a lot of Ubiquiti, a lot of Adtran, and we don't need to open multiple vendor systems. We don't need to log into the Ubiquiti interface or the Adtran interface to understand elements of the network. We can do that all from a single system. Taking this a bit further, if we want to start proactively identifying issues, for example, we'll start by sorting downstream throughput per PON. So we can identify some of the PONs that might be approaching their maximum capacity. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll sort by downstream throughput. Using this insight, you might want to split a PON or upgrade a PON as well to XGS PON, or even plan for, think about how you plan for maximum network capacity using this intelligence and seeing where your PONs might be approaching maximum capacity. So if we dive deeper into one of our PONs, we'll click on PON 4, for example, here, and get some operational insight on that particular PON. Here we show basic metrics that are collected from across the network as well into how your network is trending. We keep information for you and all that trending information as well for up to 2 years. So you can go back and look at it from PON performance and understand capacity planning, maybe upgrades that need to be made across the network, and also understand how much time you have left, on a particular PON before you are required. You'll need to make an upgrade there. Now, if we look at the individual ONTs that are attached to the network, at a glance, we can see really great information about the manufacturers, the models. We can get metrics on the quality of the optical signal being transmitted as well. And we could sort this list by receive light levels as well. This will help us create a prioritized list of potentially poor performing ONTs, as an example. So sorting by received light levels drives decisions on proactive maintenance across the fiber plant. I might have situations of bad splices or areas maybe I need to clean connectors, but this is really going to help me based on light levels and sorting it by received power. It'll really help me prioritize the maintenance that I need to do across the network as well. And so if we look at this, we've got a similar situation to what we had with Erica in that we have Ethernet port speed, and this is going to reveal customers with old Wi-Fi routers that might be on gigabit plans where they're not quite getting that service level that they should be. And in this case, we have a number of customers who are only able to negotiate 10 megabit per second on the fiber network. Let's take a look at what's happening. So if we drill into that further, everything seems to be fine from the optics in this case. We've got, our receive power looks good. It's green. Our status, we're online. Doesn't seem to be any issues here with light levels. So if we start to look into their account and to see if they're achieving their plan speeds, we end up with similar, type of situation. So something's not clearly right. Again, this is a situation where this customer is on a gigabit plan, symmetrical, but they're only seeing speeds of 10 megabits per second. So that really shouldn't be. So if we look closer, we have a similar kind of issue here. Latency, again, is extremely high. They're not able to achieve their plan speeds, and their quality of experience is really poor. So in this case, what can we do from an operations perspective? Well, we can use these metrics that are delivered inside of the Preseem map and the dashboard to start to look at the customer service plan, their quality of experience, latency, their light levels, to really know if there's an issue with the home Wi-Fi router or if there's something in the backhaul. And we can use this data to recommend an upgrade, protect the customer's experience, ensure that they're achieving their maximum plan speed as well. So in just a few clicks, again, the operations team was able to create a prioritized list of the ponds that they need to take a look at from a poor optics perspective and how they can maintain those better, and spot issues, potential issues with customers' home Wi-Fi routers that are impacting their quality of experience. And all of this helps to reduce those call volumes for your customer support teams and really, reduce the risk of potentially churning due to a competitor. So let's take a look here really quickly. We'll get back into the presentation and just talk a little around what are some of the things that you can do, next from that perspective. So the benefits, obviously, for a network operations team that we kind of look through here is that you're going to be able to quickly identify which of the ponds are delivering a poor quality of experience for your subscribers. So you'll be able to gain actionable intelligence and prioritize the troubleshooting of efforts all across the network. That's going to improve the performance. And as well, with a single view across your entire access technologies, you're going to be able to do a couple things. You'll be able to reduce training costs and improve the efficiency of your overall network and operations. So again, just a really quick example from a customer here. This is from Primo Wireless, who operate a hybrid network as well in New Zealand. And they've been able to really get the detailed insights they need into signal strength, as well as status, the firmware of the devices, the connections, the OLTs, the ONTs, the ponds. And having that all in the same place has enabled Primo to deliver similar workflows and help them troubleshoot their issues faster. So we're getting close to the end of today's session. So let's really, really quickly recap. And we know that ISPs deal with a lot of challenges, right? Some of the ones that you identified, obviously, the integrations that you're managing, and obviously increasing competition as well. And so managing multiple legacy systems is a challenge for a lot of the customers that we deal with. And the data and the visibility into the access network, the subscriber, and the vendors, the reason why this is a challenge is because all of that is siloed across multiple systems. And it's this fragmentation of data and this siloing that leads to reactionary approaches, right? It complicates your network management. It slows your growth because you're reacting. You're not able to proactively see where you may be able to sell additional capacity into the network, or where there could be a potential for a router upgrade in home that we kind of talked about, or managed Wi-Fi. And instead of working on improving network performance proactively, your teams, your technicians are spending their valuable time troubleshooting from an L2, even an L3 perspective, maybe going out on unnecessary truck rolls or support calls. Network operation or optimizations opportunities are really hidden. They're hard to spot when you're reacting to them, right? And then identifying those growth, upsell, and managed Wi-Fi, potential opportunities, they're almost impossible because you're not able to see them across the network. And one of the things that we like to think about, and talk to our customers about is it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to take a reactive approach. With a proactive approach to access network and subscriber management, you can get that centralized, you can activate centralized and actionable intelligence from a single place across every access technology vendor and your team and really enable them to operate and work together with their existing workflows more efficiently. And only with this unified insight are you able to take that action to prevent churn, to drive growth, to reduce support calls and increase overall operational efficiency. And this is an approach that we really like to help our customers take here at Preseem with that proactive approach. That's kind of the advantage that we propose to our customers. So one more thing before we leave is Fiber Connect. I assume everyone's going. If you're going to be there in Nashville, would love to meet up with you. I will be there as well with some other folks, my colleagues from the Preseem team. So you can stop by booth 974, chat with some of the Preseem experts, walk through some of the demonstrations that we talked about today. And you can get 10% off if you haven't registered today. Use that code 2410OFF. Pretty easy for your registration. So that's all I've got. So that's it for me today. Thanks for spending your lunch with me. Hope you had something tasty. Maybe it was a hot dog, maybe it was a sandwich, maybe it was a taco. They're related or not, obviously, who knows? But feel free to reach out to myself, matt@preseem.com, easiest way to get me. Or you can visit the links below to get an interactive demos, kind of what we looked at today from both a network operations and a customer support perspective. But now I'm just going to take an opportunity to look at some of the questions that have come in. Okay, looks like we've got a couple here. So okay. So sounds like some folks are familiar with Preseem. So is this part of Preseem Essentials? So yeah, everything that we talked about today during the webinar is all part of our base package, Preseem Essentials. In fact, really by deploying the network polar, the Preseem polar very quickly, it helps to map your network topology all together, subscriber and network topology. So you can start almost instantly getting that data into a single place where you can start to make sense of it. So super quick deployment, and really that time to value or returning value is really quick, and really giving you some key operational insight into the network. And that's all part of our Preseem Essentials package. So question here from Luis, does Preseem only do monitoring or also packet shaping and speed throttling based on customer plans? So we will do active queue management based on FQ coddle. We don't do any layer 7 deep packet inspection, because we think that active queue management is really the most effective way to apply controls and shaping based on the customer's package, as well as the applications that they use. So what we'll do is, based on FQ coddle, we'll group applications into kind of real-time applications that are more latency sensitive, versus bulk applications like your bulk transfers and your file transfers that aren't as latency sensitive, into shaping actively there. There's a couple ways that you can do that. You can leverage, if on the fixed wireless side, you can leverage our auto access point shapers. And you can manually add your own shaping policies as well for the access network there too. But that's a good question. Another question here. Is Preseem able to provide insights into fiber networks where ONTs are operating in bridge mode? Okay. Yeah, great question. So generally, when we think about this, is that Preseem maps all the things from the network. So all we need to do to correlate that with the customer record is, in some network, coordinate the customer record so that we can use that to identify the ONT, the MAC address, the serial number of the ONT. And as long as that is in the billing system, and it's associated with the customer's service plan, then the Preseem Polar will actually figure all of that out. And you'll see all of that inside of the Preseem application. So yeah, as long as we're able to get that from the billing system, which we usually are, depending on the network, the manufacturer that you're using, but we can talk about that as well. We should be able to do. Just a couple minutes left here. One other question on the vendor support. Okay, so what other vendors are on your short-term roadmap for full support integration? Yeah, so good question. So we obviously today talked about, Ubiquiti and Adtran, but I think there's, we're always looking for prioritizing what we do from a roadmap perspective in terms of the vendors that we support based on what our customers are really needing. So If there's something that you'd like us to see supported that is not today, let us know. We'd love to work with you and understand that how we can really that intelligence helps to inform our roadmap going forward and how we build these integrations for you again, so you don't have to. That's a good question. All right, one other question here. Do I need to have an inline appliance to get started with Preseem to see these metrics? No, this is the great thing, is that we can help you get up and running very quickly with the Preseem Polar. And this is not an inline appliance itself. This is something that you can put into play very, very quickly. You can spin up a virtual instance, a virtual machine, and get that Preseem Polar, install the Preseem Polar on it as well, and start seeing insights from your network in just a few hours. So Steph has a question about DZS. I'll have to get back to you on that. It's a really good question to see what level of support we're able to provide there. Would love to chat a little bit about use case there too, into how you're thinking about using those technologies there too. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Matt, looks like you've got one more question that came through. We'll get this one and then we'll probably need to wrap it up.
Perfect. So Luis, great question. So yeah, there's kind of two elements to it, right? So the first thing that you're able to do is very quickly deploy the Preseem Polar that can be deployed on a VM. It helps to do all of your subscriber mapping together and get information and intelligence, network metadata directly from the network across all of your elements, your billing system, et cetera. So we're able to put that in place. That does not need to be in line. Where you're looking to do some of the plan management and really the shaping and some of the congestion management that you were talking about earlier, that's where installing the Preseem appliance is really going to help you out. So we're able to really, take all of the data, combine it in such a way from the Polar and the Preseem element and put that together and give you some really great insight into quality of experience, right? The business value scores, all of those things. But if you operate a fixed wireless network as well, you can get things like the RF scores directly from the Polar without needing that inline appliance. If you are looking to do, some congestion management, a bit of the plan management as well, you'll need to do that with the Preseem element as well. But all of that really works together. Really, the first step that we see is just getting visibility all in one place, so that you can now do something with it. And the doing something with it, usually, as you mentioned, Luis, is involved in doing some shaping and some active queue management through our FQ Coddle technology and the way that we've kind of deployed that there. That's a great question, though.
Okay, great. Well, Matt, thank you so much. Is there any final thoughts? We've had some great questions. So again, I want to thank our attendees for definitely submitting those questions and having this a very engaging webinar series. But Matt, is there any closing remarks?
Yeah, I mean, great session today. I want to thank everyone again for joining. We're going to send out a follow-up email that's also going to include links to the two demonstrations that we watched today, that we walked through today. Those are fully interactive, so you can share those with your teams. You can kind of tab through and get the experience and click through and understand, how you can drive better customer support outcomes, how you can drive better network operations outcomes. And all of these things are going to enable you to better delight your customers, which is really why we're here today. Final thought, as I mentioned, going to be in Nashville. If you're going to be there, stop by. We'd love to say hi and get a bit of time together and just chat about some of the things that you're seeing on your network. But really appreciate everyone for joining today.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. And as a selfless plug, FISPA will also be in attendance at a booth. So I don't think we're that far away from each other. So yeah, definitely love being at events that are with our FISPA vendor members and supporting our community. So thank you again, everyone joining today. I really appreciate your time. And as Matt mentioned, sharing your lunch with us today and answering that controversial question, is taco a sandwich or not? So you guys have a wonderful week. And again, we appreciate it. We will be sending an email with the live recording for you to watch it or share with your team. So if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Matt or myself, Donna Qualls. My email address is executive.director@fispa.org. So thanks everyone for joining. Have a great day.